Most people say they want peace and quiet. They dream about it, escaping the noise, leaving the chaos of modern life behind, getting off-grid, disconnecting. I used to say the same thing, until I actually did it. 30 full days. No speaking. No human contact. No phone, internet, books, music, or even a clock. Just me, a journal, and the rules. 1. No speech. 2. No media of any kind. 3. No visitors. 4. No mirrors. 5. No escape. I signed up for it voluntarily, a controlled solitude experiment created by a private psychological research institute. They covered all my living expenses and even paid me. But the catch was total isolation. The only communication allowed was written journal entries submitted every evening. Why did I agree to it? At first, I told myself it was curiosity. Then I said it was the money. But the truth is, I was tired of people, of noise, of pretending I was fine when I wasn't. I wanted to vanish. And that's exactly what happened. The room they gave me was plain, white walls, no windows, a small kitchenette, a toilet and shower, a mattress, and a steel desk with a blank journal. There was no clock. They said time perception would be part of the experiment. I was told meals would appear silently through a locked hatch twice a day. Lights would shift subtly to simulate day and night. Medical monitoring would happen remotely. Cameras were hidden. I would never see a face, not even my own. They called it the white cell. On the first day, I unpacked. It wasn't much. Clothes, toothbrush, one pen, one notebook. I tried to write something. The page stared back, empty. I smiled to myself and thought, this will be easy. The silence was clean, unbroken. No hum of traffic, no buzzing notifications. My mind felt open. I walked in slow circles. I laid on the floor. I drank water just because I could. For the first 24 hours, it felt like a meditation retreat. I didn't miss talking. I didn't feel trapped. But then came the night. I only knew it was night because the lights dimmed. I crawled onto the mattress and stared into the darkness. At first, I listened to my breath, then my heartbeat, then the silence. And that's when I realized something horrifying. There's no silence in silence. My ears began to invent sounds, a buzzing, a low hum, a high whine. I turned over. They followed me. I sat up, still there, like my brain was refusing to accept the absence of input. I covered my ears. Still there. That night, I didn't sleep. I wrote in the journal. Day 1. The silence moves. It breathes with me. I'm not alone. I'm with myself. And he's louder than I thought. When the lights brightened the next morning, I was grateful. I hadn't spoken a single word, and already I felt like I was unraveling. I ate slowly. I cleaned things that didn't need cleaning. I sat and stared at the walls. I imagined how many bricks made up the room. I recited old songs in my head to pass the time. By the end of day 2, I had memorized the number of ceiling tiles. I knew every bump in the drywall. And I had the first dream. I was in the room, but it wasn't mine. There was a mirror on the wall. I looked into it, and someone else was staring back. Not me. Not exactly. Same face. But the eyes were wrong. The smile too wide. He whispered something, but I couldn't hear it. I woke up gasping, heart pounding, my hand covering my mouth. Still hadn't spoken, but I wanted to, badly. I opened my journal again. Day 3. I saw myself. He's not me. I think he's waiting. I'm not sure what scared me more, the idea that I was hallucinating or the idea that I wasn't, that this was still just the beginning. And there were 27 days left. I told myself the dream was just stress. But on day 4, when I went to wash my face, I instinctively looked for a mirror. There wasn't one. Of course not. Rule number 4. And yet, I felt it. That someone was staring at me. Not through a camera. Not from behind a wall. From inside me. That's when the scratching began. It was faint at first, like fingernails against metal, coming from the far wall near my bed. I pressed my ear to it. Nothing. I knocked. Silence. Then later, the sound came again, faster, urgent, like something was trying to claw its way in or out. I wrote in my journal. Day 4. I'm not imagining it. The sound is real. Either the walls are alive, or I am. By day 5, my sense of time had collapsed. The lights dimmed and brightened on a pattern I couldn't follow. My body no longer felt hunger at predictable intervals. My thoughts looped. I talked to the walls in my head. That night, I found words forming in my mouth. Silent phrases. Let me out. He's behind you. This is not just a room. But I didn't speak. Not aloud. Because I was terrified of what would answer back. Day 6, the scratching stopped. Instead, I heard breathing. It wasn't mine. It came from a corner where no vent existed. Steady. Shallow. Rhythmic. I stood frozen for almost 20 minutes, heart racing. Finally, I forced myself to say it in my head. There's no one here. And then I wrote. Day 6. I'm being watched. But not by the cameras. I think I brought something with me. On day 7, things escalated. I woke up and all the furniture was wrong. The mattress was on the opposite side of the room. The desk had been moved 2 feet to the left. My journal was closed, though I remembered leaving it open. But there were no signs of intrusion. No footsteps. No disturbance. Only one thing had changed for certain. A handprint, pressed on the inside of the shower glass. My size, but reversed, like it had been made from the inside, while I wasn't there. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. Not because of the rule. Because I was afraid I'd answer myself. Because what if I'd already spoken, and just couldn't remember? That night, I dreamed again. The man was closer now, in the mirror. His mouth moved, mimicking mine, but there was no sound. Then he stopped, tilted his head, and smiled. His teeth were mine, but wrong. Sharper, too clean, predatory. I woke up with bite marks on my inner cheek. By day 8, I began questioning my sanity. I tried meditating, breathing exercises, writing, but every time I put pen to paper, it ended the same. I am not alone. Scrawled, not in my handwriting. Same pen, same page. I tore it out, burned it in the stove. The next morning, the same line appeared on a new page. Not once, 3 times. I considered quitting. There was a button I could press, under a panel, to end the experiment. But something stopped me. Not pride, not money, curiosity. Because deep inside me, I had the growing suspicion that this wasn't a hallucination. This was contact, not from outside, from within. By day 9, I stopped calling a room. Rooms are safe, defined, predictable. This was something else now, something alive. Not physically, not with skin or bones, but with intention. I wasn't in a cell anymore. I was inside something. I started testing the walls, tapping them with my knuckles, listening, counting how long the sound took to bounce back. One wall, the same one where I'd heard scratching, echoed differently. Duller, not hollow, but heavy. I leaned my head against it and whispered silently with my lips. Are you listening? No sound, but I felt warmth radiating from the concrete, as if it had exhaled. Later that day, I found a sentence written on the back cover of my journal, a place I never touched. We always were. That night, I dreamed in third person. I was watching myself, asleep on the mattress. But the version of me lying there was wrong. He blinked with both eyes at once. He breathed like a machine, mechanical, timed. And behind him, in the corner of the room, stood 4 shadows. Tall, thin, arms too long. They weren't moving. They were waiting. When the dream ended, I woke with my hands clenched so tight my nails had drawn blood. By day 11, I gave up trying to track time. I became someone else. Someone who existed between light and dark. Someone who whispered internally to a second self. Then I found the message. Not in the journal. Scratched into the wall above the bed. Faint, jagged, human. They're trying to get through me. I stared at it for hours. I hadn't done it. I was sure. But what scared me more was the past tense. They're trying to get through me. Not to me. Through. I began having waking visions. I'd blink, and the corners of the room would shift. I'd look away, and when I looked back, something would be out of place. A sock on the ceiling. A spoon in the toilet. My handwriting mirrored in the journal. One time, I found a drawing of my own face carved into the underside of the desk. But I don't draw. Day 13, I made a discovery. The scratchy wall? It was hollow, but only for 12 seconds each hour. I tested it obsessively. At 12:12, I guessed, then again at 1:14, 2:16. Each time for just 12 seconds, the wall lost its weight. Sound changed, like something inside moved, like a door. On day 14, I tried to break it. I used the leg of the chair, slammed it into the wall during the 12-second window. Nothing. But afterward, the scratching resumed, not outside the wall, from inside the mattress. That night, I refused to sleep, and at the exact midpoint of darkness, I saw it. A figure sitting at the foot of my bed, perfectly still, back to me. I didn't move. I didn't speak. And after a long, impossible moment, it turned around. It was me. Not like me. Exactly me. But the mouth? It didn't open normally. It unhinged. And in a voice I couldn't recognize, it said, "You're the copy." I didn't sleep after that. I didn't eat for 2 days. I didn't write in the journal. But the pages filled anyway. Every morning. "You're not real. Let him out. He's almost through." By day 20, I no longer remembered what my voice sounded like. I hadn't spoken in almost 3 weeks. Not a word. Not a cough. Not even a sigh. It was more than a rule now. It was instinct. Like my body had forgotten how. But something else hadn't. Something inside the silence was getting louder. The dreams had stopped. Now, the hallucinations came while I was awake. I saw movement in the corner of my eyes, reflections in invisible mirrors. My own shadow no longer followed the lights correctly. It lagged, delayed by a second. I stood in the center of the room and screamed. Not with my mouth, with my mind. Just pure rage toward whatever had hijacked this experiment. Toward myself. That's when the walls answered. It was a low hum at first, like a fluorescent bulb preparing to die. Then vibration. Then voices. Not one. Dozens. All whispering at the same time, overlapping, some in English, some in something else. I fell to my knees, holding my head. And through the chaos, one voice rose above the rest. One I recognized. Mine. But not from my mouth. From the walls. "It's time." The lights flickered off. Total blackness. And in that blackness, I felt it. Breath on my neck. Cold hands on my back. A weight pressed on my chest. Not physical, but psychological. Like something was leaning into my soul. And then, from the darkness, a voice whispered, out loud, not imagined. "Speak." I opened my mouth. But no sound came. My throat spasmed, dry and raw. And finally, in a whisper so faint I barely heard it myself, I said, "Who are you?" The room exhaled. Every light flashed on. And across the far wall, written in mirrored letters that bled through the paint. "I'm the one you locked in." I didn't understand. I wrote frantically in the journal. Questions. Demands. Threats. The next morning, the pages had all been torn out. And in their place, a single line in handwriting that wasn't mine. "We shared this body once. You left. I stayed." On day 21, I began seeing 2 shadows. Mine and his. Same size. Same motion. Except his was slightly ahead. Like he already knew what I was going to do. By day 22, I was eating without tasting. Drinking without swallowing. I stared at my hands, waiting to see if they were still mine. Then came a knock. One soft knock from inside the steel wall. I froze. It knocked again. 3 times. And then a pause. Then my own voice from behind the wall said, "Let me finish what you couldn't." That night, the lights never dimmed. The mattress shook. The air thinned. The scratches formed a new phrase above my bed. "He doesn't want out. He wants in." I don't remember day 23 or day 24. In fact, everything between day 23 and day 29 is a blur, fragments of memory, like broken mirrors reflecting someone else's thoughts. I remember water running, but I don't remember drinking. I remember writing, but I don't remember holding the pen. I remember looking into the wall and seeing someone looking back. Not a reflection. A copy. Not like me. Me. The final journal entry wasn't in my handwriting. It said, "Thank you for making space. I'll be quiet now. You can speak again." And beneath that, a drawing. The triangle again. 3 sides. A circle in the center. But this time it had eyes. On day 30, the door opened. No alarm. No voice. Just a mechanical click. The lights turned to daylight white. And for the first time in a month, I saw an open path. I stepped outside. A long hallway. Bright. Empty. No people. No words. Just my own footsteps, too loud in my ears. They took me through a debriefing. Asked questions I couldn't answer. What was the most difficult moment? Silence. Did you experience hallucinations? More silence. Did you ever break the no-speaking rule? And then, for the first time in 30 days, I spoke out loud. No. Except it didn't sound like me. It was my voice, but lower. More confident. Colder. They stared. One of them wrote something down. Another one whispered. He passed. They gave me back my things. My clothes. My phone. They said I was clear to go. That I could return to my life. No follow-up appointments. No further contact. I left the building. Got into the car they arranged. Drove home. But nothing felt like mine anymore. Not the house. Not the bed. Not the body I moved with. Now at night, I speak in my sleep. My voice recorder picks it up. I never remember. Sometimes I speak in languages I don't know. Sometimes I speak in mine. One night I whispered, "You can rest now." I'm awake. I don't remember saying it. But the next morning, my journal was open to the last page. A new message was written there. Now we're whole. I don't know who walked out of that room on day 30. I know it was my body. I know it had my memories. But somewhere in that silence, something came through. Something I let in. Or something that let me out. So if you ever think you want to be alone, really alone, think again. Because you might not be the only one waiting in the silence.